Hey everybody, I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine who we'll call Corey. He's sitting at a desk in J.P. Starks Elementary, and he's looking out a window. If he's like me, maybe like you too, he's dreaming about going to recess. Maybe he's ADD, or maybe he just doesn't really care what the teacher's talking about right now. That's not why Corey's looking out the window right now. Corey's terrified of getting shot in a drive-by shooting, and he's sitting next to a window. Behind Every Door works with kids and adults like Corey every single day. People who live in high crime, low-income apartment communities. And we support personal transformation by demonstrating the love of God through apartment-based community resource centers, where we cultivate a relational connection and then design a holistic approach to programming. So I want to go back to Corey. He can't read. He's 2 grades behind in literacy, and his mom's worried that he might eat rat poison in front of the sink. In addition to that, he didn't eat breakfast this morning. He won't eat lunch at school. And when he gets home from school, he's going to have a bag of hot Cheetos with nacho cheese poured in the bag. And that's it. He and his family face a complex web of hurdles every single day, those 3 being some of them. Now, we work with partners who address some of those issues that he faces. A lot of them. We need them. But people in poverty, when they face all these issues at the same time, often need people to understand those issues. So what we do well is go into apartment communities, knock on doors, and learn the stories behind every single door. Because until you establish a relational connection and understand those stories, you can't really help. When we first entered one of our communities, we went to a nearby corner store. We pulled up, walked inside, bought all of the bottles of water and fried food that they served. Then we went back, got on a golf cart, and drove around asking people one simple question. Will you tell me your story? As people began to answer that question, bonds of trust were forged, relational connections were made, and we began to understand the expressed needs of the community. From that place, then we can begin to help. See, that's why a holistic approach to programming matters so much. What I learned in that process is that Corey isn't just facing literacy. He isn't just needing to eat better, and he doesn't just need to feel safe. He needs all of it. And he's facing all the problems at the same time. So let's revisit him for a second. Let's say that I could help Corey address his safety issue. And his frontal lobe is so on fire that he can't retain information. But if we help him with nutrition, then his brain will grow and he'll have a capacity to get the information. And if you flip that scenario and you don't help his brain grow, but you help the safety calm down, the safety issue be addressed and his frontal lobe calms down, then we have a capacity issue. So either way, he either won't be able to retain the information or he won't be able to hold all the information. Now, if we address both of those issues, we still have a problem. Corey can't read. And if he can't read, he's not going anywhere. So we have a problem. In order for Corey to reach his full potential, we've got to address safety, literacy, and nutrition at the same time. But how in the world are we going to do that well? I'm glad I asked myself that question. Everything that we do is designed with transformation in mind. From the way we hire our staff, to the way we design this holistic approach to programming, to how we set up our spaces. So I want to pause for a moment, and I want to talk through the difference between transformation and formation. So there is a difference, and I want you to know I think both are good. But which one you choose as your goal will determine the tools that you use to get there. Another way of saying that is that environment encourages behavior. So let's look at formation. A formative environment would be a classroom. Desks and chairs, sterile floors and lighting, mostly one-directional conversation or lack of conversation. But that's often how a single program might be administered. And if I want to teach you something, it's a great option to choose. But if I'm interested in transformation, then I've got to change the environment. So I want you to consider a home. That's what our community centers look and feel like. You got leather chairs, area rugs, side tables, lamps, coordinated paint and lighting. Conversation's 2-directional. You're invited to come in, throw your bag on the ground, plop on the couch and say, I hate my teacher. If I want relational connection, I need that kind of an environment. So once we've set up that kind of an environment, and then we've put our staff in there to begin building relational connections, then we want to begin designing a holistic approach to programming. So we've organized all of our programming into 6 key areas: literacy, discipleship, health and wellness, mentors, community, and employment. That way, when Corey or anybody else in his family, or anybody in the community for that matter, is facing a host of issues at the same time, they can come through one door, on site, get access to all of the tools that they need to achieve personal transformation. In 2017, we were able to serve close to 3,000 people at varying levels across 3 apartment communities. 285 kids enrolled in our kids program, 150 on average attended every day. Of the 100 who chose to take advantage of the literacy component, 54 improved their skills by 1 grade level. We were able to provide over 6,000 hours of work to adults in the community at a minimum of $10 an hour. And we worked with the community to host 68 events that fostered a sense of belonging and provided Bible studies to 80 people each week who were interested. Through that work, we've seen residents take ownership in their community. They're excited about it. Some of them advocated with the city to get a bus line reinstated because the city shut it down. Others have taken our after-school program and moved to other communities and taken it with them, starting their own. And still more, when frustrated with a growing trash problem, started an initiative to pick up trash in their community. But the biggest challenge that we face today is the transient nature of poverty. See, unexpected expenses from medical bills to car problems, and believe it or not, truancy fees can lead to an eviction. And when that happens, our work gets interrupted, limiting our effectiveness and the community members' involvement in their community. So we recently entered into a partnership with the Dallas Housing Authority and 4 local churches, beginning to provide our services in a project-based Section 8 housing community here in Dallas. A community like this provides a different level of housing stability that we haven't seen before. Why? People move less. And when people move less, they're with us longer and our programs are more effective. One of the things about DHA that we've really seen play into the future vision that we have, they own 500 apartment communities, 12,000 units. We want to take this into every single one of those units and other communities like it. Cultivating a relational connection, designing a holistic approach to programming so that we can support personal transformation behind every one of those doors. That's where we want to go. That way, people like Corey won't have to live in fear anymore. Neither fear for lack of safety, nor fear for lack of opportunity. People in this community feel safer. They're becoming gainfully employed, learning to eat more nutritiously, learning to read at grade level, and taking a sense of ownership in their community. That's why you're here. You're here because you want to see more of that. You're here because you want to see people in poverty achieve personal transformation. So I want to invite you to look behind every door. Is there somebody whose door you could go knock on? If there isn't, we can help. Because if we're going to change the face of poverty, it starts by knocking on doors and learning stories. Thank you.